was really surprised by the results. You know, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. And
Were you surprised?
Yes, I was. I was expecting somebody to come up and take a whole bunch of them.
You know, it's been called a social experiment. Now that's the language that's being used. And I'm hearing from, you know, professors and sociology and psychology, and it's being used in classrooms. And what's interesting about it is that I would be lying if I told you that I foresaw all that and that I had, you know, the global significance was something that I was really tapping into. I just was doing an experiment that I was interested in. Mm-hmm. And the social experiment really occurred even after the film was launched, because if you look at the video on YouTube, all the comments, and they're very interesting and I think accurate. Questions are asked like, well, what would happen if you hung this in an impoverished neighborhood? You know, put it in India. What if you hung $20 bills from the tree? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or even $5 bills? Or what if you did $100 bills? Do people know that there's a camera there? Were they shy to take it? Did they think it was art and they should leave it alone? And these are all excellent questions.
Yep.
So I hope people will actually do these other variations. I want to see.
Well, if you get some funding, I'd like to see you do the $100 bills. That would be great. And graffiti just launched on Monday.
Graffiti is an idea, quite simply playing off the word graffiti, but spelling the middle of the word F-E-E-T, you know, graffiti. So I went around and put nice messages into unsuspecting shoes around the city, like shoes that were lined up outside a yoga class, in a shoe store. I did a bunch in my house. I put them in my kids' and my husband's shoes, and I filmed it, and, you know, it was fun.
Unsuspecting shoes. I like that phrase. As if
right.
Shoes are surprised. Are there any suspecting shoes? Do they?
You would be surprised. There are quite a bit of, large population of suspecting shoes.
And I can see, based on your other work, that the idea for positive pranking just flowed out of who you are, because it's just a fun, creative thing to do.
I mean, you know what? All we can do is like follow our little interests. We all have our thing, you know, and it's not even worth trying to figure out why or explain it. You just pay attention to that thing that makes you, you know that Howard Thurman quote, ask not what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go to it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive.
Yep.
I think if everybody sort of paid attention to whatever that little thing was that makes them come alive, things would flow rather well.
Well, in the positive pranking video, you did a variation on a childhood prank, ding dong ditching, and as I was watching it, I was thinking, that is the core of your work. There's so much that is childlike about it, which is very, very different from childish. And that childlike is just a joyous exuberance in what makes you come alive, like you just said.
I mean, as a kid, you know what, I'll tell you, here's the thing. As a kid, I remember one of the most overriding sentiments and memories of my childhood is I always had questions. I was so confused about everything. I just couldn't for the life of me figure out this world. And I remember, I swear to God, I remember feeling like I didn't know if there would ever come a day in my life where I would be able to utter a sentence, because I felt like everything was a question mark to me. How do people get to a place in their lives where they actually can offer something in the affirmative? That seemed like an insurmountable task to me. And I guess really what I'm doing now is I'm just still trying to answer the questions. The world's a curious place, you know? It's what it's about.
Yeah, the asking questions is more important than finding the answers, I think. And speaking of which, I like the wordplay you use. For example, always trust magic. I'm the same way. I look at an ATM machine and I immediately think, okay, what can ATM stand for? but I suspect you and I are not very normal in terms of the rest of the population. But that was the first piece you did, Always Trust Magic, to launch Mission Amy KR in January 2010.
Yeah. It's the ATM machine is right across from where I do a lot of writing at a coffee house, and it's just right in my direct line of vision outside the window. And one day I just thought, oh, Always Trust Magic. And just seemed, I don't know, yeah, the idea of putting little notes on a posting notes on the facade of the ATM machine for people to find as they come up there, and signing it Always Trust Magic.
I could see these, an ATM machine, a doorbell. I mean, you can look at these things and they're almost calling, Amy, come, look at me. What are you going to do with me? Here's an idea. I want to be in a movie. Now, speaking of which, another of your videos is drawing conclusions, and you have actually 3 parts to that. And in the first part especially, I like the clever way you integrate letters and symbols. I love that kind of wordplay. And I bet when the idea for that video popped into your head with giving and receiving, I bet your heart just leapt for joy.
Well, I discovered that thing with the give, receive arrows. Should I draw it for you? Or people can just find it?
I'll have the video on the blog.
Oh, okay. So I'd come up with that a few months prior and had used it in some presentations, both for children and adults. And then I had the idea of making the animated film about it. But yes, the day that I figured out the give-receive thing, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. That was a really good day.
Yes, I was thinking good day. That popped into my mind. And the same thing, when I get an idea like that too, you just want to celebrate and shout it to the world. And another of your ideas was the 10-10-10 beckoning of lovely, with the 1 0 serving as the LO, so it's 10-10-10 spelling lovely, lovely, lovely. That must have been exactly, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what, Phil, you know me, yes. And that actually also happened at a concert. I was at a Wilco concert this summer, and we were waiting for it to start. It was an outdoor concert, and I was just scribbling down ideas for the 10-10-10 thing. I seem to get a lot of inspiration around music, and I couldn't believe it when I thought of it. I was like, oh, I'm so happy. Tell me a couple of your ones that you like.
Well, I can just see Amy doing the happy dance.
Tell me one of yours.
Oh, what I tell people, I just finished another book that I wrote, and I've been consumed with it for a few years. It's about spirituality. And people are saying to me, what do you do for fun? Don't you ever go out? You haven't seen a movie in a while? Go to a party? I said, no, you don't understand. When I'm writing this book that chose me, and I feel honored to be the one selected to write it, and it's something so important to me and part of me, and I feel guided to do, when I write the perfect sentence, and it just clicks into place like the tumbler on a safe, and wow, this is perfect. I cannot imagine getting any more joy anywhere else. That to me is fun.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so believe me, I hear you. I see these ideas and I go, I wish I would have thought of that, but I'm glad Amy did.
I have one for you. I have an idea for you.
Okay.
You could do a series of short films about maybe little reflections on what you're writing about, perhaps, I don't know, or anything. But how would we spell short film?
Well, with my name, Phil, Philm, right? And I think
maybe -M.
-M.